In 1972, Dr. Atkins' book came out and I started following it, and I lost a lot of post-baby weight. And then the sugar addiction took over and I started falling off the wagon, getting back on the wagon, falling off the wagon, having sugar and not having sugar. In 2012, 60 Minutes did a story on Robert Lustig and white poison, and I got David's book, Sweet Poison Quit Plan, and I kicked my sugar addiction. I didn't stop eating it, I just kicked the addiction. And I haven't looked back.
I actually was going down the lines of the I quit sugar. My wife got gestational diabetes, and we found by cutting back our sugar content, etc., we were able to get her gestational diabetes under control. And then my journey started from there, looking at more the impact of sugar, what it has on our diets, and then that led me down low carb, high fat pathway, and just found it was a very easy lifestyle, and I found very healthy.
I'm a dietitian, and what I was taught at uni didn't really resonate with me. Teaching diabetics to eat carbohydrates at every meal didn't make a lot of sense to me. Also telling people to eat margarine, which is highly processed and highly inflammatory, didn't make a lot of sense either. So I went on a bit of a journey searching for answers, and that was how I discovered low carb, high fat.
I first got interested in low carb with a patient coming in one day, and he mentioned ketogenic diet, and I looked into this a little bit more and discovered the Low Carb Down Under site and a series of YouTube videos, and that became about a week-long tutorial.
I went sugar-free 3 years ago and was still sort of battling a little bit with it and starting to get back onto alternate sugars, glucose and other things, and just did more delving and came across Tim Noakes' work and just loved his YouTube videos, and the science of it was fascinating, and I thought, yeah, this sounds really interesting. Tried that and knew that it was it. Just felt so much better, sustained energy, loving it. So I'm definitely a convert, and just reading and learning as much as I can about it.
So I've got an exercise science undergraduate degree, and I was also a professional Ironman from 2012 to about 2014. And I dug a massive hole for myself at the beginning of 2012 because I was trying to follow the conventional high carbohydrate, low fat approach to athleticism. And I was very lucky that I had my wife there doing her own thing on the side, and I sort of, looked at her and sniggered and poo-pooed and thought, that's interesting, but, I've done my science degree, so I know what's right. And she ended up going to Ironman Melbourne and doing the race of her life, and I ended up slipping into a deep, deep hole. It wasn't very good to live with. My mood was shocking. It just wasn't good at all. So she, from there, eventually got into low carb, high fat, and I followed along once I've dug myself out of my hole.
Every single day for lunch, every single day, I have a rolled pavlova with my own homemade raspberry jam, half a teaspoon. And the pavlova is 8 egg whites, and it is beautiful. Chicken breast, rump steak, beef stroganoff, taco salad, homemade sausages, dim sims, and my own homemade hoisin sauce. They're all my favourite recipes. All sugar-free, all low carb, all good protein.
Zucchini noodles with spaghetti bolognese. I certainly like my bacon and eggs. I don't have that all the time, but I love my eggs. Zucchini lasagna. My cheeses, brie cheese, bit of breakfast, avocado, and the nuts, macadamia. So in terms of meals, very much everyday meals, just away from the breads and grains.
I really love coconut milk, coconut cream, coconut flakes. I just love making smoothies with coconut milk and cooking with coconut in general.
As a bachelor, I don't actually do a lot of food preparation. I'm very happy just to cook some basic meat or fish, and to, you know, put plenty of butter on the vegetables, and just to have a nice variety of satiating food.
It would have to probably be bacon, like everyone else, and homemade butter. I've always been a foodie, and I actually was a chocolatier, sort of am a chocolatier, but not doing it anymore. And so I love making things from scratch. So I make my own butter. I'm just getting back into fermented foods now. And so there's so many foods that I'm loving. And I suppose the real meal revolution got me back into just beautiful cooking and just thoroughly enjoying it all.
My favourite food is Wagyu. I have a friend who has an island off my island state of Tasmania. It's called Robbins Island, and they have grass-fed, hormone-free Wagyu. Now the sad thing is, like with a lot of, I live in a beef dairy industry, most of our animals are slaughtered and they only use 44% of the animal. The rest is just chucked out. So I asked my friend John and Rochelle, I said, what are you doing with that other bit? And they said, oh, just landfill. I said, oh, can I have it? And they said, yeah, sure. So I picked up 30 kilos of Wagyu fat for free. You're usually paying $60 for 200 gram steak of the stuff. And so I'm sort of doing the world a favour in the sense that I'm making use of potential landfill, but my word, if you can get your hands on grass-fed, hormone-free Wagyu fat, it is just sensational. Just fry it up, whooshka.
I've dropped 5 dress sizes in 6.5 months, and it's all been visceral fat. I've got more energy than I've ever had in my entire life, and at 67, that's not too bad. I don't exercise. I'm still burning visceral fat. I don't want to exercise. I do walk. I power walk to the bus stop. I power walk around Chadstone Shopping Centre. That's all I do. And I'm on my feet all the time. But the positives are, I'm now down to every 6 weeks with my osteopath. The prolapse discs in my back seem to have healed magically. The blocked sciatic nerve, all those things have just got better and better. And it's not just the weight loss. Every single thing I'm doing seems to be improving. So my skin on my face is just tighter. It's as if I've had a facelift. There are very few wrinkles, which at my age I should be having. Nothing. So all of it's positive.
Look, I'm a runner. So that was probably one of the things that really interested me in terms of low carb, high fat was they say you can run all day on fat once you're fat adapted, and that's something I've certainly found. I don't need to have anywhere near as much fuel when I run. So in terms of calories, it's nothing compared. You know, I ran the Great Ocean Road Marathon 3 weeks ago. 4 years I would have needed 4 gels. On the weekend I had 1. So, and my running is as good as it was back then. Time-wise, I was equal to a marathon. So definitely from my perspective, it's really helped me in terms of sport, and my recovery from the marathon was amazing. So much faster.
I have lost about 5 kilograms. I am just bursting with energy, so much more mental clarity. It just is a really great way of eating.
Just over 3 weeks ago now, I completed a marathon, the Great Ocean Road Marathon. I ran that fasted and on water, which is basically because I was keto adapted, I could do that 45 kilometre run without hitting the wall, basically. So I was very pleased with myself, given that up to that time I'd only ever walked about 8 kilometres as a daily routine. So I believe the low carb has given me that athletic performance.
Probably the sustained energy would be the biggest gain that I've had. I really used to ride the highs and lows of sugar ups and downs, and now just feel the sort of energy that I suppose I was looking for when I was starting to make changes because I was dissatisfied with how I felt. It just didn't feel right. And now, gosh, just makes a huge difference. And also mental health, you know, anxiety, depression, that sort of thing, having gone through pretty rough time for over the last almost 10 years, this has just really helped with all of that. So it's just, I have nothing negative to say. The hardest thing is not trying to proselytise and teach everybody about it and talk to everybody about it, because you have to let people find it in their own time, and that's probably the hardest thing. I've got friends and family who I know would benefit from it, and you kind of try and mention it but not drum it into them, and yeah, I'd love to do that.
I can ride my bike for 9 hours on 3 eggs. I can run 50k on a handful of nuts. It just feels fantastic, and there's no inflammation. You recover a lot better. You don't get that slump that you get from any sort of intake of carbs. And now that I'm not racing professionally, I'm only doing about a third of the exercise that I used to do. So I'm spending obviously a lot more time doing my PhD. Having that greater cognitive acuity has just been fantastic. So that means I can get up in the morning. I train fasted, so I just have a cup of coffee and go, and I can pump out anywhere up to 5 hours, sometimes with interval efforts in there. And then I'm doing my PhD of an afternoon through to the night and sleep like a baby.